My name is Sir Reginald the Brave. You might remember me from my last adventure, A Knight's Quest. I defeated a pretty scary dragon, so yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. Today I decided to take a break from all that hero stuff. I rode my horse, Sir Clompsalot, into the town of Sunnyville. I was really excited to go shopping. I had a long list of things to buy. I needed new shin guards for my armor. My old ones had a huge dent from a goblin's hammer. I also needed some special soap for my magnificent moustache. It doesn't just stay curly on its own, you know, it takes a lot of work. The townspeople were super happy to see me. Kids were waving and shouting, "It's Sir Reginald." Old ladies were blowing kisses. It felt pretty good. I tied Sir Clompsalot to a post and gave him an apple. He loves apples. Then I walked down the main street, just enjoying the day. The sun was shining, the birds were singing. It was the perfect day. I was thinking about what I would buy first. Maybe a giant turkey leg from the butcher, or maybe a new comfy pillow for my castle bed. Being a hero is tiring, so good sleep is important. I decided to visit the jewelry store first. Not for me, of course, it was for my mom. Her birthday is next week, and I wanted to get her something shiny. I walked into Gilda's Golden Goods. The place was filled with sparkly things. Rings, bracelets, and necklaces were everywhere. A little bell jingled when I opened the door. The shopkeeper, Gilda, smiled at me. She had glasses perched on the end of her nose. "Sir Reginald, what an honor," she said. I told her I was just looking for a gift. She pointed me toward a case with some really nice necklaces. I was looking at a pretty one with a blue gem. It would look great on my mum. I was just about to ask Gilda how much it cost. My armor is really clunky, so when I move, it makes a lot of noise. Clank, clank, clank. I tried to be careful, but my big metal gloves sometimes knock things over. I was trying very hard not to break anything. I was focused on the necklace, thinking about my mum's happy face. It was a peaceful moment, or at least I thought it was. Suddenly, everything went completely wrong. My perfect shopping day was about to turn into a total disaster. Suddenly, Gilda the shopkeeper screamed. It was a really loud scream. "My Starlight Sapphire, it's gone!" she yelled. She pointed a shaky finger right at me. "Me, Sir Reginald the Brave!" My jaw dropped. I was so shocked I couldn't even speak. I just stood there with my big metal gloves in the air. The Starlight Sapphire was the most expensive necklace in the whole store, and now it was missing. Everyone in the shop turned and stared at me. Their friendly smiles were gone. Now they just looked angry and suspicious. I felt my face get hot. A crowd started to gather outside the shop. People were whispering. I can't believe it. Sir Reginald is a thief," one person said. "His armor is probably full of stolen jewels," another person shouted. This was a nightmare. I tried to explain. "Wait, I didn't do anything," I said, but my voice was drowned out by all the noise. My clanky armor didn't help. Every time I moved, it made a loud clank sound, which probably made me look even more guilty. Gilda was crying, and the town guard was on his way. My reputation was being ruined right in front of my eyes. I felt terrible. One minute I was a hero, and the next minute everyone thought I was a criminal. It was confusing and really upsetting. I'm a knight. We live by a code of honor. We don't steal things, especially not sparkly necklaces. But no one seemed to care about that. They had already decided I was guilty. I knew I couldn't just let this happen. I had to prove my innocence. A true knight doesn't run away from a problem, they face it. So I took a deep breath and decided to become a detective. Sir Reginald, the detective knight. It had a nice ring to it. I had to clear my name. There was no other choice. My quest was no longer about finding the perfect gift for my mom. Now it was about finding the real thief. I knew it wouldn't be easy. The whole town was against me. But I had my brain, my bravery, and my slightly dented armor. I looked at the angry crowd and felt a new kind of determination. I was going to solve this mystery and catch the real shoplifter. My redemption run had officially begun. I just hoped I was as good at solving mysteries as I was at fighting dragons. My first step was to think like a detective. What do detectives do? They look for clues. So I started by looking around the jewelry shop. I ignored all the people glaring at me. I got down on my hands and knees, which is very difficult in full armor. Clank, squeak, groan. I looked under the tables and behind the counters. Then I saw it, a small, muddy footprint near the back window. It was way too small to be mine. My night boots are huge. This was a clue. A really good clue. The real thief must have been small and had muddy shoes. Next, I needed to talk to witnesses, even if they all thought I was the thief. I tried to be calm and polite. I went to a boy who was selling newspapers on the corner. "Did you see anyone run out of the jewelry shop a few minutes ago?" I asked him. He was scared of me at first, but I gave him a shiny coin and he started talking. He said he saw someone in a dark cloak run down the alleyway. They were moving super fast, the boy said, and they were carrying a sack. This was another great clue. The thief was fast and had a sack. My investigation was starting to feel like a real adventure. I followed the muddy footprints into the alley. They led past some trash cans and a sleeping cat. The cat just yawned at me. At the end of the alley, I found something else. A single bright red feather was stuck on a fence post. This was weird. There were no chickens around here. Maybe the thief had a pet bird, or maybe their cloak had a red feather on it. I carefully picked it up and put it in my pocket. Every little piece of evidence was important. I was connecting the dots. I started asking people if they knew anyone who wore a dark cloak and had a thing for red feathers. Most people just shook their heads and walked away quickly. They still thought I was the bad guy, but then an old baker told me something interesting. He said Barnaby the magician always wore a dark cloak, and Barnaby had a pet parrot that had bright red feathers, a parrot that was famous for being able to mimic noises perfectly. Suddenly, it all started to make sense. I had my main suspect. Now I just had to find him. I marched straight to Barnaby the magician's house. It was a crooked little house at the edge of town. I knocked on the door. "Clank! Clank! Barnaby! I need to talk to you!" I shouted. The door creaked open and there he was. Barnaby was a skinny man in a dark cloak, and sitting on his shoulder was a parrot with bright red feathers. The parrot looked at me and squawked, "My starlight sapphire, it's gone!" It sounded exactly like Gilda the shopkeeper. That was it. The parrot must have mimicked her scream after Barnaby stole the necklace. Barnaby looked nervous. He tried to slam the door, but I was too quick. I used my big night boot to block it. "I know you have the necklace, Barnaby," I said. He saw the muddy footprint clue, the red feather clue, and heard his own parrot betray him. He knew he was caught. With a big sigh, he reached into his cloak and pulled out the sparkly starlight sapphire. He confessed everything. He said he wanted it for a new magic trick, but he didn't have enough money to buy it. He thought he could blame me because my armor was so loud and distracting. We went back to the town square. I had Barnaby and the necklace. I called everyone together. When Gilda saw the necklace, she gasped with joy. Then I explained everything. I showed them the small, muddy footprint. I held up the red feather. Then the parrot squawked Gilda's scream again for everyone to hear. The townspeople were stunned. They all looked at Barnaby, who looked down at his feet in shame. Then they looked at me. Their faces weren't angry anymore. They looked sorry, really, really sorry. They realized they had made a huge mistake. The mayor came and apologized to me in front of everyone. He said I was a hero all over again. The crowd cheered, and this time it felt real. Barnaby had to return the necklace and scrub the floors of the town hall for a whole month. As for me, my name was cleared. I learned that being brave isn't just about fighting dragons. It's also about standing up for the truth, even when it's hard. And being honest is always the right thing to do. I finally went back to my shopping, and Gilda gave me a discount on a beautiful necklace for my mom. It was a pretty good end to a crazy day.